Haro.
In the 21st century, as the growing problem of overpopulation gripped the entire Earth, scientists from Japan decided to colonize Mars. To make Mars warmer and habitable, they launched a mission called Terra Forming, in which they sent moss and cockroaches to Mars due to their resilience in extreme environments, hoping this would trigger the greenhouse effect and raise the planet's temperature. 500 years later, we see a couple, Kamachi and Nanao, running from the cops for a convicted murder. When they're eventually caught, they are brought before a government officer named Ko Honda, who has been assigned a mission to exterminate the cockroach population on Mars in preparation for human colonization. To carry out this mission, Ko Honda recruits a crew of international criminals and terrorists, offering them a pardon for their crimes along with a hefty monetary reward upon completion. He extends the same offer to Kamachi and Nanao, who reluctantly accept it, as their only alternative is life imprisonment. After their training, the crew of criminals is sent to Mars aboard a spaceship called Bugs 2. Upon landing, they notice that Mars is no longer red but has turned green due to the terraforming process. Captain Dojima launches a roach bomb, designed to spread pesticides and wipe out the roach population. He then splits the crew into groups to exit the spaceship and inspect the results. As the crew explores the Martian surface for some time, they are surprised to find no dead roaches yet. Just then, Kamachi and Nanao suddenly encounter a large humanoid roach standing before them. A chill runs down their spines as Kamachi nervously greets it with a shaky hi. However, the roach charges at the speed of light and snaps Nanao's neck, leaving Kamachi devastated. He screams at the roach in despair, but it vanishes as quickly as it appeared. Soon the rest of the crew arrives, revealing their own encounters with the monstrous creatures and how one of them had killed Mariki. Furious, the crew storms back into the spacecraft and confronts the captain, telling him that they thought they were brought here to kill the cockroaches. The captain tells them these are in fact the cockroaches. He explains that 500 years ago, when the cockroaches were sent to Mars, the harsh combination of intense radiation and temperatures of -50 degrees caused their evolutionary process to accelerate at an unprecedented rate, turning them into these powerful beings. They realized they were fooled by Ko Honda into killing small cockroaches. Just then, Ko Honda appears in a form of hologram, telling them they are nothing but the garbage of Earth sent to clean the garbage of Mars. Enraged, Kamachi makes a futile attempt to punch Ko Honda, only to realize it's just a hologram. To stand a chance against the giant roaches, the captain hands out DNA injections to the crew. Once administered, these injections will grant the crew members special abilities from various insects, helping them fight the roaches. However, the injection will be effective only for a few minutes unless used multiple times. Tajuka starts laughing like a madman because he thinks it sounds fun. God Lee decides to go first to fight the roaches because he wanted to get back to Earth quickly and use his new powers to spread terror across the world. He walks on the surface of Mars and injects himself with the DNA serum when he comes face to face with the giant roach. He mutates into some kind of beetle and starts fighting a roach, exchanging the hits with the same speed and strength as the creature. Since the roach won't go down, Lee uses his powers to emit fire from his hand and burn the creature. At first it looks like he won, but soon the roach recovers and slaughters God Lee. Suddenly, a cockroach climbs onto the transparent shell of the spacecraft. The crew is confident it won't be able to break the bulletproof glass, but the cockroach smashes through it and jumps inside, killing 2 people upon impact. This time, the captain decides to fight the cockroach and injects himself with the DNA serum. He mutates into some rare species of ant and swiftly kills the roach with a single attack. However, their relief is short-lived as they notice an army of cockroaches climbing onto the spaceship to kill them. Desperate, they decide to flee back to Earth, but when a crew member attempts to start the spacecraft, an error in the system prevents the launch. With no other options, they realize their only hope is to reach the Bugs 1 spacecraft, which was sent to Mars 10 years ago, and salvage its parts to repair Bugs 2. Captain Dojima and Ichiro decide to stay behind to hold off the roaches, while the others set out in the Mars rover toward Bugs 1. Tajuka injects the DNA serum and transforms into Rove Betel. He sits on the back of the Mars rover and blows a jet of fire out to propel it across the terrain and kill giant cockroaches at the same time. However, soon they encounter a wave of tsunami of roaches in front of them. Mina pushes the rover through the wave as Tajuka continue to shoot gas, causing lots of roaches to smash against the windows. The rover safely makes its way through and they celebrate, but unfortunately, they then see a second and a bigger wave coming. The girls are afraid that Tajuka won't be able to survive this one, so they rush to his aid after injecting themselves with a DNA serum. They shield Tajuka from the impact of the roaches as he propels the rover through the second wave, but at the end, the vehicle flips and crashes, knocking everyone inside out and tossing the trio to the ground. As the rover continues its journey on autopilot, The army of roaches surround them and kill 3 of them without mercy. Meanwhile at Bugs 2, as the roaches invade the spacecraft, Ichiro mutates into sleeping chironomid which can survive without oxygen and only needs water to wake up. He blocks the roaches' view by covering the spacecraft's transparent shell and crushes a few at the entrance before shutting off the oxygen inside, causing the roaches to suffocate and die. The remaining members in the rover arrive at Bugs 1, where 2 of them stay outside to stand guard while 3 head into the spacecraft. They turn on the system and are shocked to discover that the spacecraft is already transmitting something back to Earth. Suddenly, they hear gunshots and rush outside, only to find that the roaches have killed the 2 guards. They realize that the cockroaches are getting smarter and have built advanced weapons like guns by learning from humans. The trio swiftly injects the DNA serum and mutates into deadly insects, slicing through all the roaches with ease. Meanwhile, we see that one roach is in communication with Kohanda on the phone. He can speak human language and assures Kohanda that everything is going according to plan. Kohanda advises him to stay away from Kamachi if he transforms because his bugs is vicious. The speaking roach then returns to the Bugs 2 and restarts the oxygen. However, its body is suddenly sliced in half, revealing Mariki emerging from within. It turns out Mariki hadn't died but had used her special powers to manipulate the roaches' minds, making them fight and kill each other. Shockingly, she shoots Captain Dojima with a gun and revives Ichiro by splashing water on him. It's then revealed that Mariki and Ichiro have been in communication with Kohanda all along, and their true mission was to bring a cockroach egg back to Earth, where Kohanda planned to study the remarkable evolution of the cockroaches and use the findings to create an extraordinary mutated army for Japan, which would be more deadly than any nuclear weapon whatsoever. As Mariki and Ichiro take off in the spacecraft towards Earth, the egg on board hatches to reveal 2 giant cockroaches in it. Mariki injects the DNA serum again to unlock her insect abilities and attempts to control the roaches by poking her sharp nails into their brains. However, the cockroach brutally kill her. It turns out the roaches have evolved once again and developed resistance to her manipulation. The 2 roaches then shout loudly to call their comrades, and hearing their cries, all the cockroaches sprout wings and fly onto the spacecraft, causing it to crash back onto the surface. Now, there are only 3 human survivors left on Mars, against an army of millions of roaches. They inject themselves with the DNA serum and a brutal battle begins between the cockroaches and the humans. Armed with the most powerful insect abilities, they easily manage to slaughter a lot of roaches. As Jim faces off against the most powerful roach, Osako attempts to assist but is brutally killed by the powerful creature. In desperation, Jim injects himself with the DNA serum again, growing even stronger and slaughtering waves of giant roaches. Desperate for more power, he injects the serum a 3rd time, gaining the ability to fly and slaughtering cockroaches in the air. However, when he injects the serum for the 4th time, his body can't take it anymore and he falls to the ground. Just as a cockroach approaches to crush him, Kamachi intervenes, delivering a powerful punch to the roach's face, but it doesn't even flinch. The cockroach breaks Kamachi's nail and throws him away. As it's about to kill Kamachi, an angelic light appears in the sky, capturing everyone's attention. All the cockroaches seems confused, but Kamachi quickly realizes it's his girlfriend Nanao, who has somehow survived and transformed into a silk moth. She sprinkles her shimmering dust over the army of roaches, which makes the roaches furious and one of them fires a bullet at her, triggering a fiery explosion as her dust has explosive powers. Jim, already aware of what she was trying to do, grabs Kamachi and flies into the air just before the explosion. Nanao dies once again in the blaze, leaving Kamachi devastated by her sacrifice. As the duo land back on the surface, Kamachi notices that Jim has completely transformed into an insect due to the excessive doses of the DNA serum. With his last breath, Jim makes Kamachi promise to survive and return to Earth. As the cockroach leader and a few surviving roaches advance toward Kamachi to kill him, a wave of fury washes over him. Fueled by the rage of losing both his best friend and girlfriend, Kamachi delivers a powerful punch to the cockroach leader, knocking him out cold. However, for some reason, Kamachi spares his life and heads back to his spacecraft, where he unexpectedly finds Ichiro, who had somehow survived the crash. As Kamachi moves forward to kill Ichiro for his betrayal, he points a gun at him. However, instead of shooting Kamachi, Ichiro fires at the cockroach creeping behind him. Setting aside their differences, the 2 men board the escape pod, which can only hold 2 people, and take off. As they ascend, the roaches prepare to take flight and crash the pod, but the cockroach leader holds them back, honoring the fact that Kamachi spared his life. Meanwhile on Earth, Kohanda realizes that Kamachi has broadcast all the footage from Mars, exposing the entire mission to the world. To save face for the government and shift the blame onto Kohanda, another government official attempts to kill him. However, Kohanda stops the bullet with his special powers and tosses a hornet at her, which releases a toxic purple spray that kills her instantly. In the spacecraft, Kamachi tells Ichiro that upon landing on Earth, he will build graveyards for Nanao and all the crew members and then come back to Mars. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.